Hi all, welcome to another interesting video. So I have planned to put a series about space. So I have planned to put it into part. So this is the first video of this series and this video is about introduction about space. First, let's talk about the moon. The moon is Earth's only natural satellite and the fifth largest satellite in the solar system. It is the largest natural satellite of a planet in the solar system relative to the size of its primary, having a quarter the diameter of Earth and 1 by 81 its mass. The moon is the second densest satellite after Io, a satellite of Jupiter. It is in synchronous rotation with Earth, always showing the same phase. So let's deal with the important question, what is a space? Space is bigger than the human mind can imagine. It is impossible to measure, so no one knows how big space really is. All we know is that Earth is in space and it is also home to many other planets. Space doesn't have a color, but some people believe that it is black. Space is void that exists beyond any celestial body, including the Earth. It is not completely empty, but consists of hard vacuum containing a low density of particles, predominantly a plasma of hydrogen and helium, as well as electromagnetic radiation, magnetic fields, and neutrinos. In the space between galaxy, matter density can be as low as few atoms of hydrogen per cubic meter. Our solar system. Our solar system is home to many planets and a sun. The smallest of these is Pluto, but most believe that doesn't really classify as planet. Instead, it is called as the dwarf planet. Earth is the third planet away from the sun. An easy way to remember the order of planet is my very easy method just speeds up naming planets. So my M stands for Mercury, very V stands for Venus, easy. Earth stands for E, method. M starts for Mars, just. J stands for Jupiter, speeds. S stands for Saturn, Uranus. U stands for up, naming. N stands for Neptune, planets. P stands for Pluto, which is not a planet, it's a dwarf planet. Solar system. The solar system consists of the sun and the astronomical objects gravitationally bound in orbit around it, all of which form from the collapse of giant molecular clouds approximately 4.6 billion years ago. Of the many objects that orbit the sun, most of the mass is contained within 8 relatively solitary planets, whose orbits are almost circular and lie within a nearly flat disk called the ecliptic plane. So what does an orbit means? It's an imaginary path which is circular, and we believe that the planets travel in this imaginary path. The four smaller inner planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, are also called as the terrestrial planets, are primarily composed of rocks and metals. The four outer planets, the gas giants, are substantially more massive than the terrestrials. The two largest, Jupiter and Saturn, are composed mainly of hydrogen and helium. The two outermost planets, Uranus and Neptune, are composed largely of ices such as water, ammonia, and methane, and are often referred to separately as ice giants. Stars. Think you know everything there is know about stars? Think again. Here's a list of 10 interesting facts about stars. Some you might already know, and few things are going to be new. The sun is the closest star. Okay, this one you should know, but it's pretty amazing to think that our own sun, located a mere 150 million kilometer away, is average example of all the stars in the universe. Point number 2. Stars are made up of the same stuff. All stars begin from clouds of cold molecular hydrogen that gravitationally collapse. As the cloud collapses, it fragments into many pieces that will go on to form individual stars. The material collects into a ball that continues to collapse under its own gravity until it can ignite nuclear fusion at its core. Stars are in perfect balance. You might not realize, but stars are in constant conflict with themselves. The collective gravity of all the mass of star is pulling it inward. If there was nothing to stop it, the star would just continue collapsing for millions of years until it became its smallest possible size. Most stars are red dwarfs. If you could collect all the stars together and put them in piles, the biggest pile by far would be the red dwarfs. These are stars with less than 50% the mass of the sun. Red dwarfs can even be as small as 7.5% the mass of the sun. Fifth point is mass is equals to temperature is equals to color. The color of stars can range from red to white to blue. Red is the coolest color. That's a star with less than 3500 Kelvin. Stars like our sun are yellowish white and average around 6000 kelvins. The hottest star are blue, which corresponds to surface temperature about 12,000 kelvins. So the temperature and color of a star are connected. Mass defines the temperature of a star. The more mass you have, the larger star's core is going to be. Sixth point. Most stars come in multiples. It might look like the stars are out there all by themselves, but many comes in pairs. These are binary stars, where two stars orbit a common center of gravitation. And there are other systems out there with 3, 4, and even more stars. Just think of the beautiful sunrises you would experience walking up on a world with 4 stars around it. Wow, this sounds cool. 7th point. The biggest star would engulf Saturn. Speaking of red giants, or in this case, red supergiants, there are some monster stars out there that really make our sun look small. A familiar red supergiant is the star Betelgeuse, which is known as the constellation Orion. It has about 20 times the mass of the sun, but it's 1,000 times larger. But that's nothing. The largest known star is the monster VY Canis Majoris. This star is thought to be 1,800 times the size of the sun. It would engulf the orbit of Saturn. 8th point. The most massive stars are the shortest lived. I mentioned above that the low mass red dwarf stars can sip away at their fuel for 10 trillion years before finally running out. Well, the opposite is true for the most massive stars that we know about. These giants can have as much as 150 times the mass of the sun and put out a ferocious amount of energy. Ninth point, there are many stars. Quick, how many stars are there in the Milky Way? You might be surprised to know that there are 200 to 400 billion stars in our galaxy. Each one is a separate island in space, perhaps with planets, and some may even have life. But then there could be as many as 500 billion galaxies in the universe, and each of which could have as many or more stars as the Milky Way. Multiply those together and you will see that there could be many as 2 into 10 to the power of 23 stars in the universe. That's 2 with many zeros. That's huge amount, right? 10 point. And they're very far. With so many stars out there, it's amazing to consider the vast distances involved. The closest star to Earth is Proxima Centauri, located 4.2 light years away. In other words, it takes light itself more than 4 years to complete the journey from Earth. If you try to hitch a ride on the fastest spacecraft ever launched from the Earth, it would still take you more than 70,000 years to get there from here. Comets. Comets are really beautiful, right? Comets are members of our solar system, but unlike the Earth and other planets, which always stay at approximately the same distance from the sun, most comets are great travelers that spend most of their time stuck outskirts of the solar system, way beyond Pluto. Wow. And then whisk in briefly for a close pass near the sun. The comets that pass close to the sun originally came from one of two places, either the Oort cloud or the Kuiper belt. You can think of the Oort cloud as a giant spherical shell surrounding the sun that's filled with about 1 million comets. The Kuiper belt refers to a roughly disc-shaped region that extends from just beyond Pluto's orbit out to about twice Pluto's orbit. It is often not very easy to tell whether a comet originally came from the Oort cloud or the Kuiper belt. For example, Halley's comet has a period of only 76 years, but many astronomers believe that Halley's one comes from the Oort cloud. Parts of comet. At the center of a comet is the nucleus, which is typically only about 1 to 10 miles across, except when various spacecraft flew near the nucleus of Comet Halley in 1986. No one has ever seen a comet nucleus directly. As the nucleus moves closer and closer to the sun, it gets warmer and warmer, which causes its ice to evaporate. When the ices evaporate, they drag dust particle off the surface of the comet. Sunlight reflecting off these dust particles produces a coma, which is primarily what you see when you look at a comet. The dust particles leaving the nucleus are pushed by light from the sun into a dust tail. The gas molecules like water, carbon monoxide, and carbon dioxide that evaporated from the ices are ionized by sunlight. The sunlight tears off one of their electrons and are pushed by the solar into an ion tail. The universe is such a vast thing and it still keeps on increasing, and we believe that universe started from a cosmic egg, and that theory is known as the Big Bang theory. We are still searching and discovering mysteries in the space. And there are many things like asteroids and constellations and are very beautiful things in the space. And we must discover about them very detailed. Hope you all see you in another video. Until then, bye. Thank you.